Well, howdy, all you collector car fans out there. This is Jason, the owner and founder of Southern Bush Motorsports. We got a great Tales from the Bush from you today. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and you can also super like down in their description. Meet Old Orange. Old Orange was the truck that I used to extract some of these hard cars. Now, I get asked a lot, how did I get some of these cars out of the woods and the bushes and that? This is a 1976 F-250 Camper Special Highboy. 3 gas tanks, 4-wheel drive, manual hubs, and a 490 cubic inch motor. It was a beast. I drove this truck all the way from British Columbia, Canada, down to South Carolina. That was a hell of a trip. I got lots of stories about, but let's just stick to this one. Now, look at this. I had to put this in here. When I lived in Charleston, South Carolina, they shut down the entire school system because of that snow. They didn't know what to do. It was the funniest thing I ever saw. But Old Orange was set up for a basic purpose, and that was to extract these cars. I had a big winch in the front, winch in the back, roll cage in case I flipped, tire nets in case I came out of the back, just all kinds of stuff. And I would trailer this car to some of the bigger sites, the harder sites. Obviously, this would be a tough thing, funny thing to see down the road, because those are 44-inch Dixie Pick tires. It had a 6-inch suspension lift and I think a 4-inch body lift. I did that for clearance, because I had a lot of clearance under the truck. You can see I already had the clearance, so I was able to get in some tough places. Those are running lights off of an airplane. Planes that come down that see the driveway. I had big KC lights on there. And this wasn't a redneck thing. This was a need-to-have thing. And this truck was used to pull out hundreds of cars in really tough situations. And it was a necessary thing for the business. I was glad to be able to have this as part of this truck as part of the team. And what I did later on was, I think it was a 2004 F-250 that I picked up, and I installed the entire interior, all the electronics and everything. You can see it right there. Looks all modernized and stuff. But I kept the original motor and drivetrain, because you just can't beat those three drive shaft transfer cases. They're just, I never got stuck in this truck. I never spun 4 tires and got stuck. It just, the truck weighed so much. I think it weighed like 8,000 pounds. It was just a monster. I know the first trailer I tried to put it on, it had 3 batteries in it, one in the behind the seat and 2 in the front there. I mean, this truck was made for long haul camping, and I converted it into a monster truck that would pull cars out. I had to. I'll start showing some of the pictures of some of the extractions that I did. This was a tough pull. These cars right here were properly lined up. The guy that put them away all the years ago lined them all up, but unfortunately none of them had tires on it. This Mustang wasn't too bad, except for that tree that was growing up in the engine compartment. Once I cut that tree out, I ended up having to have Old Orange out there for the rest of the cars. There's a 70 Chevelle SS. I think that was a 396 car. Rough, but 100% complete. Just happened to be sitting in a field. Some of the cars were easy to pull out, but you can see those tires are sunk down pretty good. Now, I used to use tow truck drivers, and these guys work hard, and they're very experienced and knowledgeable about what they do, but how do you get a car like that out with a tow truck? That car is sitting on the ground, it's been sitting there for years, and it's frozen. So you need brute force sometimes, and that's what Old Orange did. This place right here, I had to go to the expense and time bringing Old Orange for here. How are you supposed to get these cars out of here? Most of these cars don't have tires. They've been in here for years. There's a little bit of a selfie there, the old gun and pulling this car out. This car, the only reason that car's out of that woods right there is because Old Orange pulled it down the road and pulled it onto the trailer. And I'd had to deal with this a lot. Look at that kudzu. That kudzu's wrapped around that car. That kudzu's sharp. It stings when it pricks you, and it's just a pain in the butt. So I didn't deal with it. I just put a chain on the car, wrapped around as much of it as I could, and just started pulling. Pulling as careful as I can. Cars like that, buried like that. This was in Effingham, South Carolina. This guy had basically given up on these cars. There's no way you're getting these cars out of there. There's trees growing up around them. Well, you haven't met Old Orange. That was a 57 Chevy Bel Air convertible with less than 20 original miles on it. I had to get it documented and bring somebody in to check it, and that was after it got pulled out. This 69 Charger, this is the first 69 Charger I ever found. First Mopar I ever found. I ended up buying that car and kept it for quite a while. Got it running, but it didn't really drive very good. But, that was on an old cotton plantation, and it sure was a bugger to get that car out, because it had moved in 10 years, at least 10 years. But, there it is right there. I just dragged it out backwards, and that was it. I got it out. but only because of the brute force that I had with Old Orange. It didn't take me long in my career after paying all these tow truck drivers. You know, I always try to provide for local tow truck drivers, but a lot of them didn't have the experience to do stuff like this, and I ended up building Old Orange, so I had no choice. That right there, that car right there, that was a pretty rare car. I can't remember. I don't think it was a 69.5 lift-off hood, but it was a rare car. How are you going to get that out? This car right here, there's no wheels on that car. That car's got kudzu growing all the way through it. But I wanted to save that car because it was a cool car. So you need to have a vehicle. It was, I think, a Duster or a Demon that I found. That wasn't that too hard to pull that car out. But when wheels are locked up on these cars, sometimes you can bang them out and the brakes will come loose. But, you know, sometimes they don't. And sometimes you just need to have brute force to get them out. And tow trucks can't get into some of these places that I was in. This place right here is a good example. That was a 69 Coronet. I don't think it was a Hemi or a six-pack or anything, but a super solid car. That car has to be pulled out. I had to make a road to get the car out. This 68 Charger RT right here, they didn't even know about these cars until they inherited the property, but I had to build a road to get all these cars out. That's a I believe that was a GTX, but it was a six-pack GTX, and you got to do what you got to do, and that's exactly what I had to do. There's that 57 Chevy Bel Air convertible just as I pulled it out of the hole. I'll do a tale on that car later, but that car was a pretty rare car. And some of these cars right here, I was interested in pulling these cars out more for the sheet metal. I could not believe how solid these cars were. Yeah, they're four doors and stuff, but you know, fenders and glass and all that stuff still fit. This was a 72 Chevelle, but it looks rough, but the car was super solid and it had almost no dents on it. You wonder where all the world's station wagons went? It was Effingham, South Carolina, and holy crap, this guy had station wagons. You know, this fella out here didn't collect those station wagons because of the looks. They collected them because a lot of them had big block motors. You know, that right there is a nice Chevelle. It's pretty solid. Looks like it's missing the motor, but everything else looks like it's there. Oh, look at how solid that car is. It's a great base ground. So typically how it would go is I would get out to a location and I would check out the situation to see how bad it was, like this one, where these cars are bumper to bumper, door to door, and I would call back to the office and tell the guys, load up Old Orange, and you're coming on a long trip, and they would load up Old Orange onto the trailer, strap it down, chain it down, and bring Old Orange out to me. Nobody drove the truck but me because the truck was dangerous. There's that 57 Chevy Bel Air convertible that had less than 20 miles on it. That was being sent to Al Gutierrez, the godfather of lowriders in Los Angeles. I was pretty happy to get that car. I think that was a Pontiac Firebird I found out in the woods in Florida, but I don't think I brought Old Orange down to pull that one out because it was only one car I found. But, yep, that was down in Florida as well, and I ended up bringing Old Orange down there to pull all these cars out. But at the end of the day, you know, it didn't take long being in this career to realize that I needed some sort of an extraction vehicle. And I looked over one day and I saw Old Orange sitting there, and I was like, you know what? Let's make that work, because that's a lot of weight. It's got a lot of pull behind it, and I just upgraded it. Spent a lot of money on it, but, you know, it ended up becoming the pivotal thing that made me more successful because I could pull these cars out of the bush. And I mean, this Old Orange will yank a car out. You put that thing into four-wheel drive, it'll yank a car out of the side of a mountain. There's a 446-pack pistol grip Superbird that I pulled literally out of a mountain. Guy had dug this tunnel in the side of a mountain. Look at it. It was incredible how he dug this tunnel inside of a mountain because he ran out of real estate to put all these cars. So he just started digging this tunnel. There's a nice Mustang, bunch of Mustangs in that place, but you can see that kudzu's starting to grow around him pretty bad, and it got rough sometimes. That's a Cyclone GT 429 or 428 car, but look at all the cars. Look at how it's buried. That stuff didn't just come out on its own. The story behind that building. I've yet to do a Tales from the Bush, but some of the rarest cars in the world are sitting in that building right there. Yes, sirree. But there's that Cyclone right there. I mean, that car is not a super rare car, but I'm telling you, the guy pulled the motor out of it, but everything else was there, and the car was super solid. This was a place up in, I think, Kentucky, and I didn't have to bring Old Orange out for this one, but there's an infamous picture of a piece of the last mod top material left in the world, and I had it when I bought this car. That was it. That's all there was. And you see how buried these cars are. You know, you can't just get in there with a tow truck. 'Cause when I buy these cars, I have to buy all of them most of the time, and it's just so expensive. This was a barn. Now these cars look like they're in pretty good shape, and they were, but all the cars' tires were seized up. You know, I do appreciate people that listen to the end of the video. It really does. It makes me feel good that, you know, people are listening and watching. I notice a lot of comments out there, and I really appreciate the comments. And like I said before, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. I don't need to hear your comment. But I do appreciate those people that are honestly here for a good reason. And I appreciate you coming out, checking out our Tales from the Bush. And I got more coming, but thanks for checking out this Tales from the Bush about Old Orange. And we definitely have a lot more coming for you. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks, everyone.